Captain SUP reporting for duty. Now, welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I am Morrow, your storyteller for today, and with me I have some more RPG horror stories. The glory story video is coming in soon. At some point, I just want to have a nice little detox, a nice little vacation. We're gonna turn into a summer vacation video. It's gonna be nothing but RPG glory stories for like entire video, or maybe a couple of videos. A couple of videos of glory stories in middle of RPG horror stories might be a nice little detox, a nice little cleanse, a nice little brain cleanse from all the crap of RPG horror stories. Anyway, look forward to that, but in the meantime, we're gonna get some RPG horror stories for today. Player lashes out for not letting them be a murder hobo. Hey everyone, I've been DMing on stream for a while, and this story happened over the span of 2 games. In the past, I had run another TTRPG to the same group, but the game died due to scheduling conflicts. One of the players brought their significant other into the game, and the significant other, let's call them Claire, is rough on the edges. Thing is, there was a moment of the current game where they're investigating a crime scene in a series of bizarre cases involving UFOs, Men in Black, etc. from Delta Green. Thing is, when they check in the car, the player, Claire, decides to try a break into the vehicle. A cop shows up and sees the 2 individuals trying to break in. The cop draws his gun thinking they're trying to break an entry. Thing is, the PCs have FBI badges. They can flash them and problem solved. No, Claire decides to pull out a gun and shoot the cop. We had to convince Claire not to do that, but she justified herself by saying, "My character has PTSD. Well, Claire, my character doesn't have enough patience for this nonsense, so quit it." I decided not to keep arguing about it since we were live. During the last game, we're doing some chit-chat before the stream, and I asked Claire in a funny tone, "And please try to be trigger happy," to which Claire decided to shout at me, "It's my character, and I play it in whichever way I like. If you don't like the way I RP PTSD, then I can quit the game." Mind you, the game was about to start in 5 minutes. I had no time to deal with this BS, so allowed the game to continue. I'm gonna say that was probably a bad decision. You probably should just let her go. During the stream, the player decided to put a bomb on a building, not caring if the other PCs made it out alive. But at the end of the scenario, Claire's character declared they went insane with what they had seen and decided to shoot the other PCs, killing one of the player characters for crap and giggles, and then passing out. Felt like Claire was bored and wanted to cause chaos for the sake of chaos, like only playing because the partner was playing. I spoke to 2 players and all felt uncomfortable due to this. They still want to keep playing, but we feel that they're a package deal, Claire and her girlfriend, so we are planning on continuing the game but not telling them when we are playing, to soft kick them out of the game. That's gonna be a terrible idea to do because you're streaming the game yourself, so they're gonna see the stream anyway. They're gonna be like, "Oh, wait a minute, they're playing the game, they didn't tell us about it." Just basically be upfront and forward to them, say that Claire is a chaos gremlin and you're just unable to handle the chaos gremlin energy because she clearly doesn't listen. So unless she stops being a murder hobo, you would like for her to leave. And if you have to lose 2 players instead of 1, then so be it. Just be direct and upfront and tell them, "This is a problem, this is my solution. Can we find a solution? Oh, you guys are leaving? Okay, well, it is what it is." Simple as that. But don't just soft kick them because they're gonna see it on stream. They're gonna cause more drama in the background. You don't want that sort of thing. Just nip it in the butt now so you don't have to worry about it later. Anyway, let's get to the next story for today. No, we don't want to participate in this stupid tournament. Not every problematic situation has a bad guy. Sometimes the problem comes from genuinely good people that either make a mistake, don't communicate properly, or just end up trying to force one aspect of the game over the others. Sometimes to the detriment to other players. This story is very recent. The end of it happened last week. I have a player in my games. Fantastic guy, great player, good role player, a little awkward, but he's very enthusiastic. Asked me if he can occasionally take the reins of being the DM once in a while. It's kind of healthy to do this sometimes, just so that the forever DMs can actually get a chance to play, and some players can really begin to understand just how difficult our job is sometimes, so I agreed to do it. We finish up one of the main story arcs, I took control of the NPC in the party, and let this player be the DM for a little while. Initially, really nothing was too terrible. He found a couple of modules that he wanted to run to kind of get the idea of how to do so, and the first one was sort of strange, but it worked out pretty good. But there was a slight hang-up on the second one. Players needed a certain amount of guidance. If you describe a scene, it is up to the players to ask questions about it, and it is up to you to describe it. Generally, this all works great. My friend, on the other hand, didn't quite read enough of the module beforehand, so he sort of didn't explain enough and more or less left us in an open town with very little explanation and too few leads. So what basically happened is we tried to be detectives in a town infected with some kind of weird fungus parasite. It was time sensitive. We didn't know that, and it turned out to be a murder hobo slugfest when it was never actually intended to be that way. That probably would have been a good time to maybe take the player side to the side and just kind of say, hey, maybe you need to like explain a little bit more because players are clearly confused. Like, I get it, as a player you don't want to be backseating DMing and stuff, but it might be a really good idea if you do see them kind of floundering about and unsure what to do and things not going how they're supposed to talk to them outside of game and maybe, you know, have a chat and see if maybe there's a way you can help them, kind of guide them along the way, guide them to make sure the next game is a success. Because obviously people learn for practice alone, but nothing says you can't help out along the way, just a little bit here and there. Not say completely coddle the person, like, you know, handhold them through the whole thing, but maybe offer them some tips on the side, you know, off game. An important takeaway from that one of which I spoke to him about in detail, is that the party had 3 fighters and a bard. The characters that I chose were the one the fighters, and it would have honestly worked way better if I had played a mage of some kind. Knowing the way the module was written, he made no attempt to dissuade me from using that character. I explained that to him, and he was very graciously thanked me and said that he would take party composition more into consideration when we ran the next one. We do another story arc with me, and then he takes over again, this time using a short adventure he had written himself. I used a rogue this time, as per his suggestion. This one in particular was something of a murder mystery. We arrive in town for a wedding to which we are all invited, and at the same time, there's a tournament happening. We arrive in town, everybody's talking about the tournament. DM asks us if we're going to inquire about it, and no one replies. He asks if anyone wants to enter, and we each decline in turn, as our characters are ill-suited or disqualified in some way. The wedding is getting ready to happen, and everybody is still talking about the tournament. The wedding banquet opens up, with everybody continuing to talk about the tournament. And finally, I flat out ask if the tournament is actually important to this particular plot. He says it isn't really, it's just a B-plot to get more mileage. Wonderful. This guy's really laying on thick with a tournament. Hey guys, I hear the tournament in town. Man, the tournament's great. I can't wait for the wedding so I can go to the tournament after. Like, B-plot is B-plot. If players are not interested in the B-plot, you simply leave it alone. Let it be on a side. Leave it as a side quest. Maybe come back and make the tournament more relevant in the next session you're doing. I think the rest of the players are currently interested in the wedding and the murder mystery. So as the tournament is super important, I'll probably just leave it alone, just not tell it to players. But let's continue. Just then, the bride collapses. We all deputize to investigate it and are then left to our own devices. So we start talking to people, and we try to get as much info as possible. But unfortunately, due to a combination of bad roles and the characters we were playing, we weren't getting anywhere. We had a paladin, 2 fighters, a rogue, and an oracle. Not a single one of us had enough points to investigate skills or diplomacy. How far do you actually think we got with this inside the span of a few hours? So finally the DM capitulates and kind of throws a half-assed Scooby-Doo ending at us to try to get some kind of resolution. And it really doesn't make any sense. Focusing primarily on the 2 characters we never encountered at all, and the only character to pass the most important check was the Gnoll, so the way he offered this information to the party was delightfully awkward. Let it go and hope that there was something more to it than that. DM shifted through his notes for a moment before speaking again. So, let's go to the tournament. He really wants to do the tournament thing, doesn't he? I mean, if you wanted to tie the tournament in, maybe the whole wedding was supposed to be initially announced at the tournament as a sort of like a setup or in honor of whoever is being married and stuff. Maybe the tournament was for a princess of some kind, who knows, and the tournament was in their honor. Tie that in like that. That probably would have worked way better than being like, hey players, please go to the tournament or else you're not gonna have anything to do. Ha ha, you know? Gotta like weave the things together nicely and smoothly. At this point in time, the fighter's player simply says no and gets up from the table and goes to bed. Keep in mind, this was well past midnight, and Fighter was supposed to be up at 4 AM to go to work. The rest of us kind of agreed that it was time to wrap it up, and we called it a night. So the next day, I talked to my roommate, the Fighter's player, and find out that he called out of work because he was violently ill. The reason he needed to go to bed early is because he's hypoglycemic, and if his blood sugar isn't controlled in the morning, probably because he stayed up too late and slept in more than he should have, he gets mega violently ill. When I came home from work, he was still in a bad way, so I asked him why he didn't duck out earlier. My roommate then told me that the DM had been borderline harassing him all week about playing, staying awake to play because he was needed for this session. because of the goddamn tournament that no one wanted to enter. Okay, hold on a second. Don't harass people to be like, you needed the party, we need you there. If somebody just simply can't make it because of time constraints, you let them participate for as long as they can, and if you're okay with them bowing out midway, then just let them bow out midway. Some of the best sessions you can have aren't sessions that last forever. It's sessions that are short and sweet and to the point and are satisfying without any sort of sideline rigmarole and fat. Some of the best things to do is cut out the fat from the sessions and not over plan. Having a wedding murder mystery is already more than enough for players to handle, especially in between the role playing, investigation, doing their stuff. It's fine. Don't have to make sessions really long with having a murder mystery and a Coliseum fight as a B plot to extend it further. I know the DM says there's no problem player in this situation, there's no bad guy, but I feel like the new DM kind of pressuring the other player to stay because they were needed, even though clearly they had work in the morning, wasn't a good thing to do to your player whatsoever. So the DM had made an earnest effort to try to include something for everyone, put way too much effort into the particular event that absolutely none of us ever wanted to participate, and try to railroad the one player that could do the event into participating to the detriment of that player's own health. An important thing to note is that during the session when we were doing the investigation, my roommate's character didn't do a single thing, mostly because it was outside of his specialty. He was up way later than he should have been, sitting in on a game, not doing a single thing, except say no 5 hours in. That sounds awful. Sounds terrible. So I tried talking to the DM, but he said he wants to at least do the tournament before handling the game back over to me. Told him we were going to vote on it, but not to expect that anybody would want to go ahead with it. I'm sure that it hurts his feelings, but at this point in time, I just need to put my foot down. At the time of this writing, we haven't had the session yet where we could call the vote. I'm glad you put the foot down, because as like the DM of the group, you need to find ways to brain the things in, right? But at the same time, I understand the other player will never get the proper experience or learn what they're supposed to do and how to like DM and find the DM style unless they practice. Best thing to do in this situation is to have a sit down with this new fledgling DM, show him the ropes of how to plan for session, how to create something compelling, maybe even find something you can put together with him in order to get them like going on the right track in order to run the session properly. Something a little more concise and clean and not gonna make people go on a B plot for no reason if they don't want to go on a B plot, but have it be as an optional thing that might tie into the main plot in some way or the other, but it's not exactly important in any way. I think the best thing to do right now is to basically work directly with the DM, not leave them to plan stuff on their own, but work directly with them and teach them the proper do's and don'ts of how to plan for a session. As an experienced DM, you need to try to show the ropes to them and show them the things you do want to do, but things you want to also avoid doing as well. Scheduling and timing and planning out is very important for DMing, and it's not easy, of course, but with enough practice or with enough guidance, I bet you can probably show the way. DM, I wish you good luck, I hope things improve, and for the player that got sick, I hope you feel better. And with that, that's gonna be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales tomorrow. Bye-bye.